Rosina. I am a crochet designer who has yarn on her face. And I'm filming from my front room today on a very grey, wet and yucky day. It's horrific. I'm in bad mood. I'm in a really grumpy mood. I've just wasted about half an hour, 45 minutes, if not a full hour, recording a tutorial for my new shawl, and I royally messed it up. So I'm sulking. I just had a message. Oh. I don't know what that was about. I've just I'm recording on my phone, so the notifications come up. Yeah, I'm cross about that, but it has highlighted to me that there may be a problem with the written pattern that I spent all day yesterday typing up. But do you know, it's fine. It's fine. The shawl in question is this one, finished, c'est fini. And I really like it. And I showed its progress a couple of weeks ago. But I thought, you know, I want to finish this one. I want to finish it soon. I mean, look at that lovely, it's got lovely drape. Ooh. And a lovely fluffy halo, which is fabulous. Am I holding the bit up where I went wrong? I don't think so. I noticed I've lost a puff in one of the sections. And I remember I was just really cross and I left it. And it's fine, I've got a hole there where I've forgotten to add this little fella's counterpart. I was thinking about maybe just going in after the fact, and I could probably just pop a puff in, but nobody's going to notice. I made up for it by botching the stitch count later. It's fine. But when one makes a sample, one really shouldn't mess up. Hey ho. So lots and lots of puff stitches in a really nice shawl that I've been thinking about for a while. In fact, its original design was just going to be a cowl, but I just decided to go the whole hog and do the shawl. It is a combination of two different yarns. I talked about the yarns a little bit last time, but I can't remember how much detail I went into. But I'll leave links. But this is the yarn, this is the hand-dyed yarn I used. I've still got a fair old amount left, so I was hoping to do some wrist warmers to match with the leftovers, but I don't have enough. I don't have enough of the mohair. So this is fly dyed yarns, which is 100% superwash merino, 450 meters to 100 grams, called ductile. But chances are you won't be able to get an exact ductile colourway again, because fly dyed yarns is Rachel, and she focuses on one of a kind dye lots a lot of the time. So, but it's a really nice grey with brown, sort of pinky brown flecks in it, which has worked beautifully in the crochet. Really nice, no colour pooling or nothing. It's fabulous. And also both skeins are in here. I ran out just after the halfway point, I think, and there's no discernible difference between the two skeins, which is amazing. And I was far too lazy to do any of that kind of alternate skeins nonsense that, yeah, which one should do. I keep saying one. Maybe sounding very regal today. So, but it's in the works, okay? It's in the works. I have put out a call for testers to my Patreon guys, to the Patreon peeps. And, but also if you're interested, then please email me at zeensandroger@gmail.com and express your interest. Please do be a sort of a an intermediate crocheter who can read patterns, because this pattern's quite wordy. And although there will be a video tutorial to accompany it when I get it right, it's not there yet, and I haven't decided whether to send the pattern to get tested pre or post video production. So, but I thought it might be quite useful for you to know that I did do lots of different samples, swatches, to try and get what I wanted, to try and get the best combination. I really like this, which is actually linked treble crochet, or double crochet if you're in the US. I felt it gave a really good contrast between the puffs and the stitches. It was quite a smooth, flat stitch of linked trebles, but it took too long, and literally I was getting really wound up with I mean, normally when you're just doing trebles or whatever, you can fly through these stitches, but each one I had to look at. I couldn't look away and just watch telly, and I felt that that wasn't a good use of my time. Isn't that awful? So I changed the stitch, and also because it's a treble, it creates it's a taller stitch, and therefore the angle of the triangle shawl is, I can't remember if acute is harsh or it's either less or more acute than what I wanted. I can't remember which way. This is a gentle slope, therefore quite a narrow shawl, but if you work with shorter stitches, you get kind of like a squatter triangle for a shawl, and that's my preference without being too deep. So therefore that's why I go for half trebles in my shawls a lot of the time. Creates a nicer shape for me, one I prefer. Sorry, I feel like there's a lot of waffle for not very much information. So yes, I was going to do just some basic matching wrist warmers, which would have been quite cool. They're a bit baggy saggy at the wrist, so I could have done some shaping. However, it's futile anyway, because I don't know where the other one is. Well, the other one's not complete because I ran out of yarn. The mohair was 4 balls, and I wanted to make the most of everything, and then also I had leftover 4-ply from leftover fingering weight from the hand-dyed stuff, and I thought it might be a good idea to make the most of everything. So I was like, I'll do matching wrist warmers. Well, I managed 1.5, and I really don't think any kind of jiggery pokery could create a whole pair. Like, you could do them to there, but what's the point of just having a weird a piece of fabric around your hand? That doesn't compute with my brain. So if you're not going to actually warm those wrists, what is the point? So I'm afraid I've given up on that idea. And also, like, am I the biggest fan of just a cylindrical piece of yarn? I like shaped wrist warmers. These, I mean, I woulda, I cuff or whatever. There'd be enough of the main yarn, the 4-ply, but just you'd need another ball of mohair. I already no. Well, I don't have more than. I didn't have enough, and I'm too mean to buy another one. So if whoever wanted to make matching wrist warmers, then it's not a hardship just to do a rectangle of fabric, and then sort of create a pair yourself. I'm not sure whether or not you'd want me to put those instructions in the pattern, or if you want, if you want. So it's coming soon. I really like it. Okay. Before I continue talking about crochet projects and crochet news, I just thought I would let you know about the Quayside Cal that happened over the summer. It's an informal crochet along, no prizes, but what I wanted to do was just kind of G up a bit of enthusiasm and try and get people to buy the Quayside shawl pattern that I'd done last year so I could raise some money for charity. And I've paid 2 charities. They've both got £231, and I think I sold I sold about 103, 104 copies, and £2 of each copy went to the 2 charities that I had chosen. That's the Disasters Emergency Committee and CALM, which is the Campaign Against Living Miserably. I wrote a big old blog post about it back at the beginning of the summer. But then, yeah, so the 1st of September hit and I was able to kind of tot everything together and make the payments. And I did actually also get a donation of £50. So I added that to the pot as well and split it, so each charity got 25 quid each. So that's all done and dusted, but I thought I would let you know that I hadn't forgotten about it. It has all been done. It's now finished, but hopefully if you bought Quayside, you have started making it or plan to in the future. But you've also contributed to 2 very important charities, so thank you very much. So that's that. I've got things in my hand that I'm very happy about. I have got the latest issue of Inside Crochet magazine, and I've got the first issue of Murit magazine. I don't know which one to talk about first. I'm going to talk about Inside Crochet first because I'm in it, and I just wanted to show you a quick well, actually, I'll show you the project that I've got in there. But you know that in next month's issue, I've got that in next month's issue. For members of the Patreon crew, they might recognise this because they got a sneak peek a while back. So it's coming out soon. But in the meantime, I thought I would show you. Hopefully you can see these wrist warmers. I called them the teeny pop wrist warmers because they have got teeny pops of colour. I was going to call them the teeny bop, but I thought that was like maybe one step too far. I don't have them on me to show you, unfortunately, but they are double knit wrist warmers, extra long. There's some shaping in there, but actually I think because they're double knit, they are quite, I'm not sure I'd make double knit wrist warmers again, or mittens. I think I prefer 4-ply and sport weight. Not to say that they're not awesome, because I mean I made them. But for me, I felt they were just a bit too bulky in a DK. And I think if you had either or even a lightweight DK would be preferable. The yarn I used was Ching Fibre though, and it was awesome. And I am so glad it comes in skeins of 140 grams as well, because I wouldn't have had enough with the main colour. And I used maybe 130 something grams to do the wrist warmers, so that was a bit of good foresight. I don't know if I even knew that when I requested the yarn that it was 140 grams, but phew, glad it was. There's some really nice designs in the issue actually. So check it out. I don't know, do you want to see a couple of pictures? Shall I show you a couple of pics? Let's see what I can find for you. It's really hard. I'll show you these 2 tops because this is a really interesting stitch I've never seen before. I think it's called the Afterthought Stitch, and this jumper from Kimberly from Yarn Family is an awesome C2C stitch, tank top type thing, which I really like. And then Iron Lamb features as well, which it's always a bonus with a pretty cool cowl, the faraway cowl. But shall we move on to Morit? Here it is. I mean, look at this. I know a couple of people kind of balked at the price, but it's a book. It's not a magazine, and you can hear the quality. You don't just by. I mean, you can even just by looking at it, you can tell. I mean, it's got loads of stuff in there. The photography is brilliant. The designs are out of this world. It's got a nice little stitch converter, and I just think it looks amazing. It looks brilliant. It's stunning. But there's just loads of designs in here that you just swoon at. Absolutely swoon at. If you're on social media, I'm sure you've seen a lot of these already. But that's 11 Handmade. A jumper from 11 Handmade, which is probably I want to make those hat and gloves. No, the hat and cowl, sorry. I've made this already because that's mine. 2 people have started making it already. How amazing is that? I've seen on Instagram that 2 people have started it already, and today is literally the official launch day of the magazine, so already. And Clarissa has some socks. I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of things in here, loads of patterns, so I just think it's so worth it. There's articles and there's embroidery, there's a hat, there's tops, there's jumpers. I'll show you the other one I want to make. Probably the one, maybe I've got a jumper that I made and I might frog. It's quite a plump Aran weight yarn, and although this jumper is actually for a super chunky yarn, I think I could probably make it to fit me if I do some working out with tension and stuff. I could probably make this in a plump Aran weight, maybe. So I'll frog an existing project I've got and use the yarn to make that jumper, which is a rib. It's got not ribs. What's it called? Oh, help me! Can't remember what it's called. What's the twiddly corkscrews down the side? My brain these days is awful. Do you think I'm perimenopausal at 42? Possible, isn't it? Am I 42? Yeah. Crumbs. What's it called, people? Christ. I know it. Of course I do. Cables. Morit. I don't really know what to say about it other than I am completely in love with it and I think it's beautiful. And I can't wait for issue 2 in the spring. It's going to be fabulous. And I can't stop looking at it, and I can't stop just looking at the pictures and even feeling it. It smells nice even. It's what we've been waiting for such a long time, and it's so good that it's here, and Alison has done it all by herself and it's amazing. Yeah, bowled over about that. It's cool as you like. Oh, what I might do is probably take this jumper off and put another one on. But I've got maybe 10 minutes before I've got to go and get the little one from school. So I might press stop and come back, or I might just squeeze it all in 10 minutes, not sure. Okay, so 2 weeks ago I did a podcast and I had a bag of yarn that I briefly showed off. It was actually an Aran alpaca acrylic blend, and it's for an alpaca quite chunky, so it turns out. And I bought it. I went to work I bought this yarn. I bought 8 balls of the main colour, and then I bought some additional colours to go with, and then I had some in stash already. And it's Leader of the Pack yarn from Hobbycraft. There's a Hobbycraft just opened up down the road from where I park to go to work, so I can just pop in whenever I like on a work day. Speaking of work, got a new job. Same place, different job. I'll tell you about it when I do it because I'm not quite sure what's going on, but hopefully I won't hate it quite so much. Anyway, yeah, it must have been 2 weeks ago that I saw on Instagram that they had extended the deadline for Kirsty's Crafting Christmas, that programme that's on at Christmas, all about crafts that Kirsty also does. I can't remember what it's called. Kirsty's Christmas Crafts, something like that. They'd extended the deadline. I went, I'm going to make myself a Christmas jumper and I'm going to apply. So, yeah, got myself to Hobbycraft, bought loads of wool, went, right, going to make myself a jumper, know exactly what I'm doing. Turns out I don't know what I'm doing because I've made it about 3 sizes too big. And I ran out of yarn, so I'm sleeveless on one side and ribless down here because it's it's enormous, absolutely enormous. But you know, it wasn't enough to stop me. I mean, it's also not done up on that side. But what I wanted to do was, like, I should have finished it here because I wanted a rib, but as it is, I mean, it's far too big. And then things like this, a ribbed top, I want this rib to actually be about that wide, not that narrow. But I'm pleased with my faintly Christmas themed motif on it. It's just massive. Hang on a sec. You alright, baby? What are you doing? You scratching at the chair? That's not on, is it? So I bought something else. I bought a different yarn. So this arrived just a minute ago. I've bought some Paintbox Wool Mix Aran. It's not going to be as chunky as this. You probably can't see that, but this Leader of the Pack, it's got a fair old heft on it actually, and what with the halo quality of it, I think it's kind of roofed it out even more. I missed the deadline by miles, and it turns out it's not necessarily a problem anyway, because it wasn't right. So imagine if I'd sort of done a proposal or submitted a design, made it, and it was rubbish. What are you doing? Get out of my way. Come on. So the colours I've gone for are these ones. Do you like these ones, Mars? What do you think? You're not looking. Look at the yarns, Marcy. Look. So, she's looking at the window now, aren't you? Well, that's nice to have a visit from you. You don't often feature, do you? No. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board on that one and just make it for funsies. And then I might not necessarily frog this one, but I could turn it into like a little Christmas sack. I don't know whether or not that's of use to me, but I kind of can't bring myself to frog it. You're ruining it, Marcy. You're ruining it. Just gonna. Alright. So we've talked about that. And by the way, do you live in Devon or in the southwest? Because there's Stitch Fest Southwest coming up soon. If you look at that online, it's a small yarn festival that's happening at the beginning of November. Newton Abbot Racecourse. Oh! Right, you're annoying me now. in you know, last episode I said it was really helpful for everybody to pin pins and follow me on Pinterest and your other favourite designers as well to help them out, get them out there. I would like to say thank you for doing that because loads of you did and it was awesome. But other free ways you can help a designer, and if you could help me, if you have made any of my patterns in the past and you're a Ravelry user, don't forget to add your projects to Ravelry. That's all. If you've taken a couple of pictures of the work that you have done, then you can do a little project page on Rav and set it up. I think you can do the same on Lovecrafts as well. So if you've ever bought through Lovecrafts, you can set up a little project page on there as well. Can't remember exactly how, but if you're reasonably comfortable with just sort of going and having a look, it's really helpful. And even just if you heart projects that you fancy making in the future, that helps too. So thank you very much. And then I might have time to do this. Scratch your face. What was I going to say? Mixtape medley cowl. There's loads of good ones on the go. I also have added mixtape medley to Ravelry as one of my designs. So if you're making it, and I know loads of people are, then add it to the project page on Ravelry if you've got the time. That would be awesome. The cowl is going really, really well, and I'm going to make a scarf. So mixtape medley is multiples of 36 stitches plus 1. So the actual pattern is quite big. It's a single bed size blanket, but I've gone for two multiples, so two sets of multiples. So that's 36 plus 36. Add 1 stitch, and that's creating this width, which is going to become a scarf. You could halve it and do a skinny scarf, but I like to go big. I was talking to Kimberly yesterday of Yarn Family, and she's basically said, you want to Kravitz it. You don't want to do skinny tie. This is a Kravitz scarf. So yes. That's 36 plus 36 plus 1 to make this scarf. And also, it's just I've got a bag of yarns. Sorry if I sound excitable today. It's just I don't know. Excitable and grumpy, is that a combination that you've experienced before? Don't get it. But speaking of like cowls and stuff like that, I have just published a blog post about Stashtober 21. I am not going to talk about it here because I've just written a blog post about it, so you can go and have a read. If you wanted to join in Stashtober and use all your stash, then do it. It's going to be amazing. Basically, Claudia from Crochet Luna contacted a few of us and went, do you fancy doing a little cowl called Stashtober? Yeah, why not? It sounds good. I mean, using up stash is important, because otherwise you just end up with loads and loads and loads of it, and it's sort of going, just sat there waiting, feeling all lonely. And so actually we have to use it. So I'll leave a link down below so you can go and have a read. I think that's it. I need to go to school now. Sorry if it's all rushed right at the end there. I'm going to go and put my trainers on now. See yous! You deserve a proper farewell, don't you? I'm so sorry for being in a flap and panic and rushing the end like that. I was walking to school and I just thought, it's just not good enough. I can't leave it like that. It's awful. No care and attention whatsoever. I may do some cutting out of the worst offending bits, where it's just like shoving stuff in front of the camera going, and there's this and there's this. I'll just save it for another time. I hope you're well. Thank you very much for watching and hanging out with me. And I will see you again when I next jump on to record. Don't know when that's going to be, but I doubt it will be in 2 weeks. I don't know. Cheerio. I'll see you later. Bye.